Hi, this is John Geraci, managing partner at LGA. And today I'm here with Scott Sagan, who's a managing director in our tax department. Thank you for joining me today, Scott.
Great to be here, John.
So, Scott, today we're going to talk just a little bit about domicile, or a term that a lot of people typically use, residency. And this happens, you file federally, you file in a state. You can be in multiple states, but there's one state that's considered sort of your home state. So what is sort of the definition of domicile?
Good question. So domicile is generally referred to as the place where a person dwells and which is the center of their domestic, social, and civic life. So it's really where your heart is. There's a saying your home is where your heart is. That's a good definition of domicile.
So historically, there was always, some people who lived part of the year in one state, part of the year in the other, typically warmer climates, Florida. And that sort of has driven some of this conversation historically, but it seems like the activity has been picking up and more people are asking about it. Why is it such a hot topic these days?
Yeah, it's definitely a topic that's come up quite a bit, and generally it's driven by these lower tax states. And in the Northeast where we are, it's generally driven by Florida and New Hampshire. There are a lot of people that are snowbirds that have been going to Florida and now thinking maybe that's a good spot to establish as their home. And the same thing with New Hampshire. A lot of people have homes up there and nice homes, and they may want to make that their permanent domicile or their permanent resident.
So what does one have to do exactly to establish that is, hey, I got a home there, it's my domicile. Is it that simple? What do you have to do?
Yeah, no, there's these checklists that are out there. There are quite a few items on it. And, some of the bigger ones is you should file a declaration of domicile in your home state. You should apply for a homestead exemption. So you can only have one homestead. So if you already have a homestead filed in Massachusetts, you should revoke that and move it to your new state. You should register to vote. Those are some of the key ones. And then there's also very important that you change your driver's license. You change your address and all of your banking records, your credit cards, your tell the Social Security Administration. If you're a religious person, you probably should join a synagogue or a church and make that your center of your religious background. Move your valuables. If you have a safe deposit box in your local bank, you probably should move that to where you are trying to claim your domicile. And then importantly, you really have to spend at least 183 days in that new state. That's the threshold that is the bare minimum.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to say somewhere in here, there's got to be something about the number of days, because obviously you do all those things and you spend a couple of weeks in that state. I'm not sure that's going to be enough. So Scott, if everybody does all these things, and they are just textbook and they execute on all of those checklist items, is that sort of a guarantee? Can they now claim that as their new domicile home state?
No, actually, I wish it was, but a state like Massachusetts is looking for all the tax dollars, so that they don't take it lightly that someone is just going to leave the state and start claiming that they're a resident of Florida, for instance. They'll particularly look at it if there's some big transaction and you do it in the year before that big transaction. That's kind of a red flag. The other thing that they have so many data points on you now that if you own a substantial house still in your home state, your former home state, they know about it, and they're going to say, wait, they're going to send out this questionnaire. And I've seen this questionnaire and we filled it out, and it's 4 pages long and it's got a lot of questions. So they really want to make sure that the facts and circumstances support this change in domicile, and it's not just done for tax reasons.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. At the end of the day, I think what we want to make sure people understand is, if this is something you're considering, you really need to plan for it. Similar to selling a business, you shouldn't roll out of bed one day and decide you're going to sell your business in the next couple of weeks. You really can't change your domiciled state very easily as well. It takes some time to make sure that you dot all the I's and cross all the T's to perfect it as much as humanly possible. So this has been great, Scott. I think we've given some great information just to kind of get people thinking. If you're considering this and would like to learn more, please reach out to Scott or anyone on your tax team. And let's make sure that we kind of go through and the checklist and make sure that we think that it's a defensible position to the extent that you're looking to do that. So Thanks for joining us. I appreciate your time, Scott, and we'll see you all soon.
Yep, my pleasure.